Hello and good morning. Welcome everyone to the third day, well actually not the fourth day, and the last day of the Hydrogen Week, and welcome in particular to the Innovation Forum. My name is Antonio Aguillo, and I represent today here the Clean Hydrogen Partnership together with my colleague Renata, Kadric. And I think if you've been here over the last days, we have had a number of sessions covering all the hydrogen value chain, production, transport, distribution, end uses. We have seen examples of how hydrogen can decarbonize end uses across day-to-day activities. We have heard challenges about scaling up, something we need to bring costs down. We need to make sure we do that and strengthen the position of Europe, bring socioeconomic value when developing the hydrogen economy. And we have heard from researchers, from industry, and we have heard also from investors. We need finance to make sure that we can deploy these technologies on the ground. And in this session, we are somehow bringing all of this together. This is a session where we will have a number of regions. We will have Hydrogen Valley representatives. Hydrogen Valley is understood as, let's put all value chain of hydrogen locally together, generate renewable hydrogen locally, distribute it, store it, use it, and bring socioeconomic value when doing that. That's very important. Create the skills, create jobs. And if we think about these ecosystems, we need land to install the technologies. We need to make sure that we comply with all the permits. We need people trained. And we need also funding. These are first of its kind projects. We need to attract private funding. And for that, we need also public funding. And that's where I'm leading. The role of regions in all of this is key. And they have really an important role, whether it's as project promoters, supporters, enablers. And for us, this was quite clear already in 2016, where we started to support the demonstration of this type of hydrogen ecosystems, hydrogen valleys, but we were already starting to work very closely with regions to create awareness of what hydrogen could offer to them in their decarbonization plans, but also in the industrialization of their regions. So this session today, first of all, my colleague Renata is going to present a summary of the work we've done with regions and on hydrogen valleys. Then we have invited a distinguished panel of regions, hydrogen valley representative, and also European Commission working on the file on hydrogen valleys. And after that, we will have a session where we will sign a number of memorandum of cooperation with the managing authorities that we have been working with over the last year. That will be at the end of this session. And then, don't forget, there is going to be another high policy level conference on valleys. That will be in the high level policy forum that is just located over there. And that's, I think, all for introduction. So thank you very much for being here. And now, without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Renata to present our activities with regions and on valleys. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the last session of the Innovation Forum. I think we can all agree that this was a very interesting week, that we heard a lot about all the new developments, projects in the deployment and of hydrogen technologies and concrete use cases and applications. But in the end, all of these projects take place on the ground. They take place in specific cities and in specific regions, and that's why it's very important that we discuss the role of the regions in the deployment of the hydrogen technologies. So Clean Hydrogen Partnership has acknowledged the importance of this cooperation since 2016. Just a second. Okay. Thank you. So we have acknowledged the importance of this cooperation since 2016 when we launched the regions initiatives, where we try to identify the regions which show the interest in developing and deploying hydrogen technologies. And this initiative was such a success with 89 regions from 22 countries which wanted to work closely with us, that we saw that, yes, this is the way to go forward. And then we have continued in 2021 with the project development assistance by providing help to move from your project idea to the concrete project plan. We then also included the specific topics in our work program for funding of hydrogen valleys, And then as the Hydrogen Valley concept went spread out globally, we also created the Hydrogen Valley platform, which is a part of the mission innovation, which gathers all the most important valleys in the world. So where are we? How do we move the slides? Okay, sorry. So what did we achieve so far? So far we have supported more than 25 projects in a European region across the whole Europe with the project development assistance. We have funded 16 Hydrogen Valley projects, and we are currently preparing grant agreements for another 6. And currently the Mission Innovation Hydrogen Valley platform has around 100 hydrogen valleys. As we have introduced the hydrogen valleys as also one of the topics in our call, we have gathered a very significant experience in terms of working with hydrogen valleys, and we're very happy to have in our portfolio 16 projects, which are very nicely spread out all over Europe. We have one which has already finished, a big hit, which was a first project in Scotland, and then we have another 15 which are continuing, and hopefully, as I already announced, six more. What we are very happy that we have projects all over Europe, and we want to continue having more in countries where we still don't have them, in regions where we still don't have them. Yes, this is a way to go forward for us. What are the main challenges and lessons learned from what we have learned so far with working with this type of projects? First, there are challenges. We know that there are challenges. First, is the market ready from both sides, from the from the users of hydrogen, but also providers of hydrogen. There's still many issues in terms of the technical maturity, because we are deploying the first-of-a-kind solutions. Also, there are still issues with regulation and legal procedures, permitting procedures, although in the last couple of years we have to admit that this situation is getting better, also thanks to the policies of the European Commission. And of course, there's always funding. These are very complex projects which require a lot of funding, very often from different sources, so this is another challenge for us to overcome. But we have also, based on all of these challenges, we also see a way forward, how to continue working with the valleys. We see that there is a need to continue to have more and more demonstration and application cases demonstrated in various regions according to their specific use cases. We see a need to provide more flexibility in terms of the funding, because as I already said, these are very complex projects which require a lot of funding from different sources. We see that we need to continue working with the Commission and with the regions, with the member states in terms of the aligning hydrogen strategies, which will then also hopefully align the funding for these type of projects. And we also see that there is still need to help mature the hydrogen valleys, and with further continuing with the project development assistance. So how are we concretely continuing our work in Clean Hydrogen Partnership with the regions? First, we are trying to work more closely with the regions, with establishing a concrete synergies with the national and the regional managing authorities. For that specific reason, last year we have initiated a call for expression of interest for regions which want to work more closely with us. Out of these calls, we have selected 10 managing authorities with which we will establish a more structured collaboration in the areas of capacity building, knowledge management, and also funding. And we are very happy that we have already signed 3 memoranda of understanding with regional authorities, and then there are still 7 to be signed after this session. This is one way how we are continuing. Then we also continuing with supporting projects with the project development assistance. We are very closely to launch a contract for a continuation of the project development assistance, so-called Hydrogen Valley Facility contract of 12.5 million euros, which will have a duration of 5 years. And the main point of this contract will be project development assistance. We this time want to support 40 Hydrogen Valley projects across European regions, but this time with the 2 types of support for projects which are still in early stages, but also for the other ones which are a bit more advanced and matured. Of course, we want to continue working on the capacity building, organization of various trainings and events, and we very much would like to continue with our Hydrogen Valley Days, which had their first initiation this year in June. And of course, we want to continue supporting the Hydrogen Valley platform. We want this platform to become a one-stop shop for all the information of the hydrogen valleys in Europe, but also across the world. So I think this was short in summary what we already did and where we are going, but I think we are very interested to hear from our panelists, their experiences and their views in terms of the hydrogen valleys and their work on the hydrogen valleys. So I would like to invite to the stage our panelists. We will start first with the European Commission. So I would like to invite Jeroen Schuppers to come to the stage. Jeroen Schuppers, the senior expert from the GGRTD. You can welcome Jeroen. Then I would like to invite Ingrid Post from the Program Office, North Sea Canal area from the Netherlands. Welcome, Ingrid. Next is Marcos Nogueira from Portugal, from the regional agency Medio 21. Okay, we have a replacement. Okay, welcome. Then we have from Castilla y León, from the regional agency, we have Orlando Redondo Álvarez. Welcome, Orlando. And finally, representative of one of our hydrogen valleys from Luxembourg, Bradley P. Ladewig. Welcome. So, let's start with the Commission. Everything starts with the Commission, so we need to start with you. So, Jeroen, if you can shortly, basically summarize for us what are the main policies related to the hydrogen valleys, and which actually also show why are hydrogen valleys so important for the Commission.
Thank you, Renata. Basically, I think it started with the hydrogen strategy that we issued in support of the Green Deal, based on 3 pillars, basically, quite simple actually. First, to scale up the production of hydrogen, which means scaling up electrolyzers. There we set targets for that. Secondly, rolling out the infrastructure, both on the transportation, distribution, and as well as the handling and the refilling. And third, of course, to stimulate the end use, in particular large-scale end use, both in industry and in mobility. Then we had, due to the war in Ukraine, Repower EU was launched, and that was meant to get us away from the dependence on Russian gas. So it had targets on biogas development, but also on hydrogen, in particular the target to have 10 million tons of domestic production by 2030 and 10 million tons of import of renewable hydrogen by 2030. And this is actually where the hydrogen valleys came in, because hydrogen valleys allow to bring production, domestic production, together with supply, with the demand, without having to rely on a strong transportation network. The acceleration of hydrogen valley rollout is therefore very important to achieve these renewable energy targets of REPowerEU. And this is why, in turn, REPowerEU later on supported the hydrogen valleys with an extra 200 million euros to be given to Horizon Europe and the joint undertaking to support this. And some of this is already being used by the current hydrogen valleys. If we look to the future, then we see in the future commission, the next commission, Commission President von der Leyen already mentioned in her political guidelines that we need extra investments in infrastructure, in particular also for hydrogen. If we look at the Draghi report, which aims at competitiveness, then there's a mention of supporting hydrogen for the hard-to-abate industries through competitiveness clusters. And this matches very well with the concept of hydrogen valleys. So this is in a nutshell how the knot ties together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeroen. And now we have, of course, a region representative here. You all have hydrogen plans, different stage of advancement. So we would like to hear from the three of you a bit on what plans do you have? Why are you betting, if you want to call it like this, for hydrogen? And if you can share a little bit the challenges you are facing in this intro statement. So I would just like to start with Ingrid, if you could share those plans. Probably there will be some images projected in the screen. Yeah.
Yes, this is the one I need. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here and to represent the Hydrogen Valley North Holland. It's a valley situated at the North Sea with a lot of wind offshore. 3 ports, the port of Amsterdam, the port of Den Helder in the north of the valley, and the port of IJmuiden, you see it on the map. Also a valley with an international airport, Schiphol. It's also included in the valley. A large potential user, of course, in the future of hydrogen and also synthetic fuels. And already have some projects on the ground yet. And last but not least, an industry cluster with a heavy industry, a large steel factory, and also food industry with is using lots high temperatures and the production of sustainable aviation fuel. So this cluster, this valley, really needs hydrogen. It's key to decarbonize. And these are exactly the hard-to-abate sectors where which Jeroen already mentioned. So hydrogen for us is really important. Therefore, a lot of companies, a lot of initiatives started in the valley, and we connected it to each other. We make an integrated program, and the main projects we have is, for example, it's all over. It's about 40 projects already working on. But I focus on a few. Of course, the realization of offshore wind, but also the production of blue and green hydrogen in the valley. We have initiatives in the south of the valley for green hydrogen, electrolyzers, and it's in the pumping stage at the moment for around 700 megawatt. So these are enormous projects. Also in the north of the valley, there's also production of green hydrogen in the plants and also blue hydrogen. So a lot of production in the valley itself. But even more important, and we see it's coming up more and more, is the imports of hydrogen from other places in Europe and from abroad. And we focus in our valley on the imports of liquid hydrogen and LOHC, because it's a very densely populated area. So ammonia is a bit difficult, so we focus on liquid and LOHC. of course, the molecules then are in the valley, but they need to be transported. And we are working on a high pressure network, which is connected all the industrial areas in the Netherlands. But also in this valley itself, we're working on a low pressure network, a low pressure distribution network, which connects, for example, the electrolyzers towards the industry, and also the import terminals towards the industry and other production facilities. And also mobility, of course. And then last but not least, demand is of course really important. And we see in a lot of industries they're preparing to use hydrogen into transform their production process into hydrogen-ready facilities. The biggest example I want to mention is the steel factory, who is working on a transformation from blast furnitures towards the DRI process, which they can use. They change from coal to gas, and then further on they can use hydrogen as well. So these are just a few projects, but also there are challenges, because these projects are huge projects. So we try really to start up with smaller value chains, to start with small projects and to scale up it later. The challenges we face, I think, I would say in the moment the main barrier are the energy costs and the level playing field on network costs. It's very difficult in the moment, especially for the production in the Netherlands. So the electrolyzers face a problem there. There's also, of course, and we face it all, the huge gap between still fossil fuel and hydrogen, green and grey hydrogen. So this is really a barrier in the moment as well, and we have to work on that together. And of course, there are a lot of problems, and you mentioned it as well already, or unclarity sometimes, or not existing regulation and legislation. For example, the focus we have on liquid hydrogen and the imports of liquid hydrogen, we face a lot of problems in regulation with that. So to face these challenges, it's very important to work in public and private cooperation on all levels, regional, national and European, and therefore I'm very happy to work with the Clean Hydrogen Partnership.
Thank you.
So for now, enough, I think.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Thank you very much. So we go to Spain now. We are going to hear from Orlando a little bit what their plans for hydrogen is. So Orlando.
Morning. Thanks to the Clean Hydrogen Partnerships for offering to participate in this session, and thanks to coordinators team for the attention provided. Our largest region of Spain, located in a strategical position, occupies a very prominent place in the production of energy by means of renewable sources. For example, it is the leader in the electricity production through the wind power. On the demand side, underline the high energy consumption detected in some industrial areas that can be decarbonized by hydrogen uses. For example, we have several projects of methanol and ammonia because our extension region is important in production of agricultural products, not production, in consumer agricultural products, like ammonia, for example. We want to be a region free of CO2 emissions, okay? In 2099, we began to participate in the European Hydrogen Valleys Partnership, a platform constituted in the board of the fuel cell hydrogen undertaking, along with approximately 75 other regions. For the next 2 years, we developed our hydrogen plan, included this as a key pillar into the energy efficiency strategy in Castilla and León. The next years were very important because a series of milestones came true. First, the constitution of our Hydrogen Association of Castilla and León, with its current 66 partners, is the body in charge to promoting hydrogen as an opportunity of economical, technological, and social development in Castilla and León. This association is nowadays participating with Portugal and Netherlands in high-to-markets projects. Last but not least, we developed our first industrial hydrogen plant located in the environmental business park in Soria, east of our region. This plant was promoted by the Public Society for Infrastructure and Environment. That plant, among other equipment, there is an electrolyzer with 2.5 megawatts of power, and it is expected to produce 193,000 kilograms of hydrogen per year. We hope that in the coming years, we will be able to talk about the development of the first hydrogen valley in our region. We will continue to develop our plan over the next new years on the reach 2,000 megawatts of electrolysis power and possibility 30,000 tons of hydrogen. These amounts have recently been updated by our Hydrogen Association, give much better power. We believe that are prepared to face this challenge since we have an industrial fabric with the capacity to manufacture components and equipment, research and innovation companies and organizations, universities, industry, and all of this supported by a public regional administration that is committed to the development of this technology as a driver of change in this energy transition that we have to face. Thanks for listening, and I want to finish with another, with a sentence very popular, our universal writer, Cervantes. Truth in time, my friend Sancho, which often gives sweet solution to many bitter difficulties. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Orlando, for sharing all the plans, your vision as well, of course, looking ahead. And now we would like to invite Katia. She's coming from the Regional Energy Agency in Medio Tejo in Portugal. So thank you for stepping in, because I know that we were expecting Marco Nogueira, but he's a bit late, so please.
Okay. So good morning. Thank you all to come here. So the Medio Tejo regions start working at the questions of hydrogen in 2017, where they create a working group, and they establish itself as a hydrogen region. It was the first pioneer hydrogen region in Portugal. In 2019, the region submitted the Itagues Valley. It was a project, H2020, a financing project, that developed the concept of creating a region of hydrogen. This project was the aim of creating a strong international partnership, including the creation of the Itagues Valley. In 2020, the region action plan for hydrogen was approved, and the declaration of the regional council was signed. In this period, Medio Tejo promoted the leadership in European events and networks. Among other projects. After that, Medio Tejo was collaborating with several entities and regional partners also. Today, we have 2 projects approval in hydrogen. The first one is the I2 Market project that was funded under the 2020 program also, which involved 38 partners from 10 European regions. And the aim is the reaching and developing the most mature hydrogen value chain. Here, the Medio Tejo region is focused on the mobility of hydrogen. The second project that Medio Tejo have approval is the Resist project that promotes the valorization of agroforestry biomass with hydrogen productions. And the last project that Medio Tejo are working on is the Unlock project that aims to improve strategies to promote the green hydrogen economy and SMEs. So the action plan of Medio Tejo is the cooperation with several entities and regional stakeholders to set and facilitate dialogues and promote the exchange of knowledge and experience, including the value expertise. Best practice learned, and this exchange promotes also the knowledge for the region, and this is our strategy also. Thank you.
Thank you, Katia. Now we move to the Hydrogen Valley project funded by the Clean Hydrogen Partnership.
Thank you, Renata. My name is Brad Ladewig. I'm a professor from the University of Luxembourg, and I'm coordinator of the Luxembourg Hydrogen Valley. No slides, just look at me here. I'll tell you a nice story. We are building a complete end-to-end value chain in green hydrogen in Luxembourg. This is the genuine, authentic picture of a hydrogen valley. We will take from the grid renewable electricity probably produced in the Grand Duchy. We will install an electrolyzer around about 6 megawatt, producing 500 to 600 tons per year of green hydrogen. Approximately 60% will go to industrial consumers who currently use grey hydrogen today. So they are the best kind of off-takers because they're already using hydrogen and they want to substitute it and replace it with green hydrogen. Approximately 40% of our output will go to mobility customers, and we have them on board. They're going to buy some hydrogen buses. Some of those orders have already been placed. We will have compression, we will have storage, we will have distribution. So we will build the full end-to-end value chain of infrastructure. But we are a genuine hydrogen valley in the European sense of the word, and we do all of the surrounding activities as well. That means we engage with and educate the public in our region, the citizens and the politicians. Both of them are important. We train the technicians, the engineers, the companies that will not just build our infrastructure, but build the subsequent generations of much larger infrastructure that will come in our region and other regions around Europe. We build a digital tool, which is a digital twin, which is obviously great for us, great for replication to our partners in Central and Eastern Europe, but it will be an open tool, so anyone can take that tool and exploit it, benefit from it, train with it, simulate with it. And of course, we engage internationally. So we have international partners that especially work with mission innovation to benchmark our hydrogen valley and learn from the experiences of others. So we're doing many other things. I'm going to stop my remarks right now, but I look forward to the discussions, and I'll be here briefly afterwards if anyone wants to talk more about the Luxembourg Hydrogen Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Bradley. So let's continue with the question for the Commission.
Welcome, Marco.
Oh, welcome. Welcome, Marcus. Do you want to say a few words?
We can move to
Okay,
Commission
so we
colleague and then-
continue with the questions. So, Jeroen, Jeroen, a question for you, follow-up actually. So in your introductory statement, you mentioned a very important document that came out this year, which is a roadmap for accelerating hydrogen valleys in Europe. Could you basically tell us what are the main elements of the document, and especially in terms of the role of the regions in deployment of hydrogen valleys?
The roadmap, as we call it, it's actually a staff working document that came out as a result of a major conference we had last year on the 1st of March with many stakeholders, regions as well as industry CEOs, and where a declaration was signed how to move forward. And that was the basis for the staff working document, where we basically take stock of affairs. It does not propose any new regulations or new legislations. It takes stock of affairs. Where are we? What are the challenges and some of the opportunities for hydrogen valleys? 5 main things I think we should mention here. First of all, we want to accelerate the rollout of hydrogen valleys. We do that by boosting the budget for hydrogen valleys. This is why the commissioner at the time, Commissioner Gabriel at the time, committed to 200 million extra to the joint undertaking to support hydrogen valleys. Some of this budget is already being used in the calls for proposal as we speak. So this is a major boost on the financing. Part of the money as well goes to the hydrogen facility that you mentioned in your introduction, which is very important because we see that about 3/4 of the hydrogen valleys that we have today are still moved away from taking the final investment decision. So they need an extra support, an extra push to go there. Secondly, we want to increase the knowledge sharing between the platforms and the learning, and this is being done by creating a large knowledge sharing hub to upgrade the current hydrogen observatory to make it into a knowledge sharing hub. Third is working on skills. Was already mentioned the importance of skills. There is already a project running on the skills for hydrogen, which looks at the university curricula, and they're already doing some courses there. We want to expand that into a net zero industry academy to also train managing authorities in terms of permitting, for example, because permitting is still holding back the acceleration of hydrogen valleys. It slows them down. Fourth thing is what we want to do. We want to strengthen the synergies, or we are strengthening the synergies with member states in the Strategic Energy Technology Plan, which is important to the Commission, where we work with member states and industry. Last year we did an overhaul, a revamp of the SET plan, and as part of that we introduced a new work stream on hydrogen with the member states to implement what is called the Strategic Research Agenda of the Green Hydrogen Pilot that was drafted by the member states. So this is ongoing as we speak. And finally, we want to strengthen our collaboration internationally through Mission Innovation, which was briefly mentioned as well. The large knowledge-sharing platform that the joint undertaking is running also serves Mission Innovation, so it now hosts close to 100 hydrogen valleys in different stages of maturation, which improves the global learning as well. So this is basically what the roadmap mentioned as the main 5 points where we, at least from the Commission, are working on.
Thank you for the nice summary.
Good morning. I'm Marcos Nogueira. I'm here representing the hydrogen valley of Medio Tejo, which is, as the name says, but that's in Portuguese, it's in the middle of the country. So in Portugal, we started this hydrogen adventure in 2017, signing the agreement with FCHGU. Today I know that our agreement with the joint undertaking is going to be renewed, so in 1 hour or so. We are operating since then with a sense of urgency. We closed in our region the coal-fired power plant. There is another one that was also closed, of course, due to the agreement, due to the compliance with the grid targets or the grid goals for climate. But there is an issue. We need energy. We need energy. It means that we need volume and we need flexibility, availability. And hydrogen has the potential to provide both, and that's why Medio Tejo, that was the heart of the energy system in Portugal, when we had our coal power plant operating, is now shifting and turning so clearly towards hydrogen. We have done it in close cooperation, and this is a special feature. We could talk a lot about the things going on, but it's more important to say that what we have been done since 2017-18 is in close cooperation with our fellow valleys. We are participating intensively in the Hydrogen Valleys Partnership that is mostly organized here in Brussels, but we see it popping up over and over again in events all over Europe. And that partnership allows us, on one hand, to benefit from the strength of cooperation, on the other hand, being sure that what we are doing is really aligned what is needed and possible and feasible in Europe, still responding to the urgency we have of having more volume of energy and more flexibility. We have annually an event in our region. That annual event next year will celebrate the 5 years, 6 years of our hydrogen valley, because in the middle we had pandemic years, so we are counting 5 in 2025. And that year, it's also an opportunity to check again how can we do better at European level and intervene more in a positive way, bringing value to the stakeholders, to the industry, and also to the ecosystem the Commission is building and all this common strategy we are enjoying together. In May the 29th, you are all invited for that annual event that will be European Regions for Hydrogen Society. That actually is the brand for this annual event. And that is in May the 29th. We have 4 main sections on that event that indeed are very much topics that all of us, we have to respond on our hydrogen valleys. One of those may seem a little bit silly, that's hydrogen literacy, but yes, we all need to know more. From the public in terms of acceptance, to the investors, to the researchers, to the ones teaching, to the ones choosing a profession, or to the ones learning more to reconvert their skills. So that was one aspect related very much to education, but in the very broader way. Another aspect is related to primary energy. We don't have hydrogen without primary energy. And as I said, we need volume, we need flexibility as a country. If not, we are going to have a ceiling, glass ceiling, due to the lack of supply of energy. So that is a very important session on our event, is indeed addressing the issue clearly of primary energy sources. The third part of the event is related to flexibility. One of the best things we can do with hydrogen is to find more flexible solutions, to absorb better and more the surplus of renewable energy that is available, for example, in the night hours, that is generating a big imbalance in the energy market with negative prices. It's possible with hydrogen to absorb that value and to turn it into actual positive and not negative value. And finally, the other session, the fourth session, is related to cooperation. I'm Portuguese, you may understand that we see cooperation firstly also with our Spanish partners, so that will be very present. But that's indeed the cooperation we have so much enjoyed and we are so thankful for with the fellow hydrogen valleys across Europe for the last 5-6 years. And that we will have a session also with our Minister of Energy in order to welcome you to our adventure that is also yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. And I would like to address some questions now to Ingrid and after to Orlando. We talk about cooperation, but we've seen, Ingrid, in your slides that you have quite advanced plans. You're looking for the microphone? Or maybe. So we've seen you have quite advanced plans already. I mean, I think you have already quite a well-lined-up valley. What I wanted from the perspective of the public authority, although I know you are working somehow in a bit of a public-private partnership, how did you put the project together? I mean, we're talking about production, we're talking about end user, you have to secure demand. How did you go about organizing the project so that you could come up with a well-defined valley as the one you have presented? We'd like to see if anyone could somehow follow similar roles, similar models, if you could expand a bit on that.
Yes, yeah, we are a public-private partnership, and we work with the larger private parties in the region. And actually, we started bottom up. So we started with all the projects on hydrogen of a lot of institutes, private parties, etc. And we organized it in this public-private partnership to create value chains, small value chains to connect one industry towards to connect it with a distribution network, with an electrolyzer or an import. So we created all small value chains and then connected it to each other. And we brought it back in an integral programming. So we plotted all the initiatives and all the time schedules to each other. And then we created a hydrogen valley. So with all these parties, starting bottom up, bring in all value chains together, and also connected with electricity, with CO2, because hydrogen is not the only thing. For example, to have an offtake in synthetical kerosene, you need CO2 as well. So you need also a CO2 network. So we connect also this integrated, not only hydrogen, but also the electricity part of it, also the CO2 part of it, and to connect these value chains as well.
Thank you for that. Orlando, I mean, you've presented the plans from an energy perspective. Of course, work in a regional energy agency, pretty much very close with the regional government. In all the stage of conceiving how hydrogen could play a role in decarbonization in your region, I wanted to understand a bit, what about the part of socioeconomic? I mean, you know that Castilla y León was a region which was traditionally having a big coal activity, and we are moving towards a decarbonized scenario. So how important that is whenever there are decisions taken at the regional government level, benefits in terms of jobs, in terms of developing a regional industry. So can you tell us a little bit how your region is thinking about those things and how much they are taking into account?
Well, this question resumes in one point. We need consumers. We need guarantee the cost of hydrogen. The A is very high, and the industrial in Castilla y León, the industrial consumer, is live day per day. Each day is its pay, and we need to construct a cost to guarantee the confidence of this person. We have a region with a historical activity, and we start with the transition a long time ago with renewable energy, and we have the first plan in wind power in Castilla y León in the 1990s. It's very long time, but we need that the hydrogen is the following technological question with this quantity of renewable sources. But the problem is the regulation, the confidence of this regulation to transmit consumers to final consumers, because the final consumers need to be post and regulation safe to consume this product. Okay.
Thank you very much. Now we move to Bradley. A question for you. I think everybody is interested, considering that you are already an ongoing project, in terms of how did you overcome this so-called valley of death to move your project idea to the implementation? And what were the main challenges in implementing your hydrogen valley, and how did you overcome it?
Thank you for the question. So for us, the valley of death is this period between when we had an idea or a concept and a group of companies and individuals that wanted to do it, and us making green hydrogen, which should be in the first quarter of 2027. And the big gap in the middle is establishing a business case to do the investment and finding all of the funding that's required to support that business case. For us, we're very grateful to the JU, now called Clean Hydrogen Partnership, for the small-scale Hydrogen Valley funding that we secured, but that contributes less than 10% of the CapEx cost and none of the OpEx cost. So there's still a big funding gap. We have our off-takers, of course, and off-takers in our country have quite a capacity to pay compared to neighbouring off-takers for reasons that I can talk about. But the big gap we want to fill with national funding, and I'm very pleased to report there that our local government in Luxembourg has been extremely supportive. So 2 weeks ago they launched a call for pilot hydrogen production facilities to produce green hydrogen in our region with funding of 110 million. A maximum of 30 million can go to any project, so they expect to support multiple projects, and we will bid for that. And it's a tender, so they could have multiple bidders, and you want to bid attractively, but there's only so many project developers in a country as small as ours that could bid for something like that. But the funding available is very generous by European standards or by comparison to the auctions that have been done with the European Hydrogen Bank. So on offer for us is a maximum of €7 per kilogram. And if you use locally produced renewables, there's a bonus of €3 per kilogram possible. So you could have a subsidy of up to €10 per kilogram. Whether that makes you competitive in the auction or not, I'm not sure, but that's the ceiling. So that's very attractive compared to European-wide numbers that we've seen. So we will bid for that. If we get that funding, we're in a very attractive position to immediately make the final investment decision. Of course, the investors still have to bring their own funds, one of the key corporate partners, but we're in a very good position and we're very advanced in the negotiations with our off-takers. So Valley of Death, the best thing to fill it with is huge sums of public funding.
Good point and good luck. I don't know how much time we still have. Do we still have time for questions?
Yeah, I'm afraid we are running out of time. I think all the speakers are going to be here. So I would like to close with one big contribution from each of you. And I would start with you, Jeroen, just trying to understand. I mean, you mentioned quite a lot of things included in the roadmap, the role of the partnership, talk about what you are doing with regions. Any other things that could be done from our side, from the joint undertaking side? Any advice for the regions to maybe work better, closer to you?
Well, advice to the regions, I think I come back to what was said by the Luxembourg Hydrogen Valley, the experience, what I picked up, which I think is important for regions, to connect with the citizens. Regions and hydrogen valleys are best place to connect to the citizens in terms of getting public acceptance, getting public engagement, getting the citizens on board, but also on the skilling and the reskilling, which you've mentioned, which is crucial importance. And this is where regions can play a role. Secondly, I would say just make use of the project development assistance, because this is a new boost again, much more budget than before, and we've seen how successful it has been in the past. Now with a new Hydrogen Valley facility, I would really encourage regions to make use of that.
Thank you. And one question for regions. I'm going to come to you now as well, Marcos. But I will go for other. You have all presented plans, Ingrid. Tell us one, you have to put one single point of success. I mean, what it is going to determine that your plans go ahead, Ingrid. I'm talking about plans that you've presented. So what is a single point of success that you could share with us? I mean, what do you think is going to make a difference for bringing your plans to realization in 1 minute?
A single thing. I think I need a bit more. But as I said, the main challenge is to bridge the gap. And I think it's not only national funding which is there the solution. It's important, but we need also European funding. But we need also, I think, more product obligations, because subsidies is not the only solution. For example, the obligation for to use fuels, the blending obligation is very effective. But this we need for more products. because otherwise we need always the subsidies, and that will not bridge the gap in the end. So that's what we need, I think. A much broader approach to bridge the gap, not only subsidies, but in regulation and also, of course, in innovation.
Okay, thank you. Marco, one single point of success for you in 1 minute.
You can see it, but there is only 6 seconds, so I will say one single word, and that word is scale. We can't scale with geography because our region is what it is. We can scale with cooperation, and that is critical. If we work together, if we synchronize what we are doing on our regions, if we have joint plans, then we can reach the scale, and the thing gets attractive for investment. So that only word is scale.
And Orlando?
Yes, I subscribe the Marcos. The collaboration between regions is important to escalate the cost of hydrogen and to make projects with our financings correct to this opportunity.
Maybe, Bradley, for you, the question will be slightly different. What advice, because you are more advanced. I mean, you are really now still having to go through final investment decision. I know a lot of work has been done even before you apply for our funding. So there is here people with similar plans. There are others probably in the audience out there. So which advice would you give people to really go and move from this idea to the next stages and eventually to deploy a functional valley?
I think it's about assembling a really strong consortium. I really do. We are very fortunate that we have an exceptionally strong consortium. The industry partners, we have national support. I think it's a great benefit to have academic institutions in the consortium because I'm a professor at the university. I have my salary and my group is paid with public funds, and so if the project takes an extra year or two, that's okay. I can keep working on it and I can keep pushing it. And you really... I mean, I'm a very aggressive person, so I fight very hard for our hydrogen valley. I've fought with you, I've fought with many other people to try and make our valley a success, and I will just keep doing it because I'm very convinced that we need green hydrogen to achieve some of our decarbonisation goals in Luxembourg. So if you have a champion for your hydrogen valley, surrounded with a very consistent, reliable consortium of partners and individuals, and then get the stakeholders behind you, the national, the local, the political. That's a recipe. With that, you have a good chance to move forward. But you just have to wake up in the morning and fight for it at lunchtime, fight for it in the afternoon, fight for funding when you don't get that one, fight for the next one, and just don't give up. And if you do that, then you have your best possible chance. That's my advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all of you. So I'm glad to hear that funding is important, but it's not the only thing. And I think that comes across. And I think the commitment, of course, that you've shown at the different levels is really what makes the success.
Can I just add one last comment, which was what Ingrid said, that mandates, the example with SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel, that a mandate can absolutely drive the private sector investment in that industry. Those plants are being built at all scales all over Europe right now, is an excellent example. And an example of what's not excellent, for example, is the delegated act requirement for temporal matching after 2030 between green hydrogen production and the renewable production. You know, that puts a choke collar on our projects, makes the CapEx investment much higher than it needs to be. And, you know, it was put in place for good environmental reasons, but I'm sure that it actually leads to the delay or the cancellation of some FIDs because the CapEx becomes too high and it's not feasible. So good decisions made in Europe is the mandate for SAF. A clear pathway through to 2048 or something like that. The private sector just comes straight back in behind that and makes their investment. An example of less ideal direction from Europe, very difficult regulations like the RED 2 and RED 3 that makes the implementation of infrastructure more difficult. It's already difficult. It was difficult before. And things like that just make it more difficult.
Thank you. And point taken, probably these discussions will continue later in the high-level policy conference. I'm afraid this is all the time we had because we really now need to go through the signature of the Memorandum of Cooperation. Shorter than I would have liked, I have to say, but we are bounded by it. So I really want to thank you, every single speaker, Jeroen, Ingrid, Marco, Orlando, and Bradley. And we are now going to change a bit the setup of the room. They are going to be here. We wanted to offer the room to you. Sorry we didn't have the time, but you are more than welcome to now engage with our panelists. So thank you very much, and big rounds of applause.